28 WSJV, on your side. Now, live from WSJV, Weekend News with a Difference, David Scott, Steve Gouldsby's weather, and Dean Hufford's sports. This is NewsWatch 28.
Good evening. Michigan's so-called suicide doctor has struck again. Jack Kevorkian's attorney says the retired pathologist was present this morning when a woman committed suicide in Oakland County. Jeffrey Piger says Lois Hawes, who had terminal lung cancer, died after placing a mask over her face and inhaling carbon monoxide. This is the fifth suicide Kevorkian has assisted in over the past couple of years. A year ago, Kevorkian's medical license was suspended, and he was charged with open murder in 3 of the deaths, including that of Berrien County resident Marjorie Wantz. Those charges were later dropped. Police in Oakland County now are declining comment on today's incident, saying their investigation is not yet complete. Well, St. Joe County SUDS task force members were hard at work early this morning, handing out dozens of citations for underage drinking at a South Bend bar. Shortly after 1 o'clock, officers were called to the Commons Bar on North Eddy Street, where they were told youngsters were being allowed to enter the bar and purchase alcohol. Before they left, police issued more than 100 citations to the minors inside. Some were as young as 14 years old. Now, all of those cited were released, and the case will be turned over to the St. Joe County Prosecutor's Office and state officials for review. The city of St. Joe, Michigan tonight is without more than half of its firefighting force. As of midnight last night, the city's 18 reserves stopped responding to fire calls. They say they're mainly upset over the fact that because the city doesn't have enough full-time personnel, the reserves are often forced to do their work, and they have to make decisions for which they feel they are unqualified. Union President Ben Yacobosi says if the city has a major fire, there won't be enough personnel to handle it. The next step will come Monday night when the reserves will voice their concerns to the St. Joe City Commissioners. Well, now that fall is here, it's time to make sure that that furnace is running safely. A faulty one can be deadly. Today, some Michiana residents set out on a mission to bring their message of furnace safety home. Amy Hesser has more.
This could be the most important visit anyone makes to Noble Detweiler's house this season. As part of Project Heats On, Noble is having his furnace checked for free today, and it's a service call that could save his life.
Well, most people don't understand the function of the furnace, and they figure if it's warm, everything's okay, but not necessarily. Like in this house, he's got his flue pipe is run right up against the floor joist, and it's uninsulated pipe, so this house could catch on fire.
Furnace malfunctions cause deaths annually. Deaths that can be prevented by everyone having their furnaces professionally checked before they turn the heat on.
Just a good thing to do for your own protection. You can have carbon monoxide leaks because his vent pipe is rusted out, so the carbon monoxide's going in the house instead of up the chimney.
For Noble Detweiler, the news isn't good today. His furnace is not in safe working order. However, if it wasn't for the professionals volunteering with Project Heats On, he probably wouldn't have that life-saving knowledge.
My fixed income isn't all that large, and this was really a wonderful thing. I don't know just exactly what they get for this, but I've heard some prices on it, and it would have been something that I would have had to think about a little bit and have done.
Noble will be able to use his wood-burning stove for heat until he can afford to repair or replace his furnace. In the meantime, he can rest safely in his home thanks to today's simple checkup. Amy Hesser, NewsWatch 28.
Well, at a Michiana mall this afternoon, a lot of communicating was being done by hand. It was the annual Deaf Festival at Elkhart's Pierre Moran Mall. The event, sponsored by United Health Services of South Bend, included sign language demonstrations and crafts made by members of Michiana's deaf community.
It's to show the public in general that we can do anything as a hearing person can do. Only our communication is different.
This was the 10th year for the Deaf Festival. Still ahead, we'll tell you how much support a pair of national polls say Ross Perot now has as he contemplates re-entering the presidential race. Good news for asthma sufferers whose medication had been thought to have adverse effects. And some area daycare providers learn about the benefits of the Big Bird effect. Stay tuned.
the towns out there for half-price pizzas.
You have to agree the new all-day, everyday half-price policy isn't half bad.
I'd have to be half-wit not to.
Have one pizza at new menu price. Have a second pizza at half price.
Half price, and that's not the half of it. If you have half a dozen at new menu price, you can have another half dozen at half price.
Half of them in here half an hour.
Half those people look half-starved. Half those people look half-crazed.
Well, guess we have to open the door.
Do we have to?
We have to.
Do we have to?
We have to.
How about halfway?
The new half-price policy, only at Pizza Hut.
Not all the color in Michigan this fall is in the trees. Don't miss the greens. Catch the blues. Hunt for the silver. Go for the gold. And stop for red. Call 1-800-5432-YES for your free Fall Secrets of Michigan guide. Put more color in your life.
While the nation awaits Ross Perot's announcement Monday as to whether he'll re-enter the presidential race, it appears it wouldn't make much of a difference if the election were held right now. A new Time CNN survey shows Perot would get just 17% of the vote, and that Bill Clinton's lead over President Bush would be virtually unaffected. Meanwhile, a Newsweek poll shows Perot would get just 9% of the vote, and then Clinton would still have nearly a 10% lead over the president. Mr. Bush was just one state away today in Ohio, where he was campaigning via the railroad. The Bush train campaign took the president and Mrs. Bush from Columbus to Bowling Green. Along the way, Mr. Bush criticized Bill Clinton's tax and spending programs, saying that the Arkansas governor would have to raise taxes on everyone with an income over $36,500 for all of his proposals to be paid for. Meanwhile, Bill Clinton's answer to that, in a word, today was bull. Clinton took time out on his New England campaign swing today to go bike riding with JFK's nephew, U.S. Rep. Joseph Kennedy. The Arkansas governor says his programs would raise taxes only on those with incomes over $200,000. Clinton told reporters that Bush has no credibility on taxes and that he can't count. In tonight's health report, asthma. For millions of parents with children who have it, there is now some comforting news. A study published in the New England Journal of Medicine shows one of the leading drugs used to treat asthma in kids does not cause learning problems as some had feared. Michelle Gary has more.
Jonathan Hamdorf is an excellent student, a top high school athlete, and like millions of other kids, an asthmatic. Without proper medication, he could find it difficult or impossible to breathe. A 4-week study of one of the drugs most commonly prescribed for children with asthma has been linked to learning problems. Dr. Miles Weinberg, an expert on childhood asthma, questioned that report.
I was very surprised to see those negative reports on suggesting that theophylline had an adverse effect on learning and school performance. That just was very inconsistent with my clinical impressions over many years.
So he and his colleagues began a year-long study of over 250 children with asthma. Their findings in the latest New England Journal of Medicine confirmed Dr. Weinberg's belief that neither asthma nor the medication have an impact on a child's ability to learn.
Theophylline has absolutely no effect on academic performance as measured by standardized achievement tests.
That's reassuring news for Jonathan's parents, who say the medication has worked well for their son.
After reading the study, it gave me a great deal of relief to know that Jonathan will have no effects or adverse effects on his learning ability from the use of theophylline.
Some students who take asthma medication are not surprised by the study results. They've known for years that drugs like Slowbid were not affecting their ability to learn, and they have the grades to prove it. For Newswatch 28, I'm Michelle Gary.
Well, Steve, the bad weather Terminator, will be in to blow away those clouds and bring in some sunshine when we come right back. Stay tuned.
Share the experience.
Make your selection at Roy's Furniture and see what $795 will buy. Your furniture dollars go farther during Roy's Furniture's end of summer sale, 350 North Main, Elkhart. Happy 46th anniversary to Johnny's Jewelry. To celebrate, Johnny is offering savings of 46% on several hundred items, plus over 150 rings are up to 70% off.
Share the experience.
See, let me see. I love video scavenger hunts. Let's roll. Spotted dog, twins, rock group, group headstand. Got it. Twins? I always see twins at McDonald's.
Oh.
By the dog.
Hey, a rock group.
Works for me.
Red convertible.
I always see red convertibles. At McDonald's. Hey, we're doing good.
I'm doing great. Look, twins.
Not anymore. I knew we'd find everything at McDonald's.
Well, why don't you say something?
How would you like to visit one of America's 20 most exciting cities, historic sites, or vacation resorts? You get to choose. Announcing the Celebrate America Family Vacation Sweepstakes. 28 WSJV, Michiana Marathon stations, and area Ready Marts offer you this 5-day, once-in-a-lifetime vacation for 4. Free airfare, hotel, even spending money. Pick up an entry form at any Marathon station or Ready Mart by October 15th. Then celebrate America from participating Michiana Marathon stations and Ready Mart convenience stores.
This weekend, Arsenio wants to jam, and jam right. So he's calling in the experts.
That's right.
2 of the hottest groups around. A cappella sensation Boys to Men and the one and only Temptations.
Yes.
It's a soul sensation. The boys from Philly doing their latest and the legends doing their greatest. All on one stage.
Ooh, I like that.
Then you'll love this. There's also Howie Mandel.
It's a night thing.
It's a jammin' night thing. This weekend on Arsenio.
The Arsenio Weekend Jam. Saturday nights right here.
Well, I, for one, was not envying those folks at the Notre Dame game today. It was not nice.
But it is
Not
fall.
nice.
And fall, football is pretty, they go together, so.
Take whatever you get.
That's right. At least it's not snowing, because it will be snowing in parts of the area, not here, but north by next week. But right now, light rain and drizzle falling across Michiana. Temperature is 64 degrees. A south wind blowing at 8 miles per hour. Dew points are 63 degrees. Our relative humidity 67%, a falling barometer. And rainfall at the Weather Service over at the airport about a ½ inch, and in Elkhart about 3/10 of an inch of rainfall. Well, our short-term forecast for tonight calls for rainy conditions, fog, and muggy conditions, but this will change by midnight or so because a front's going to move through the area towards morning and bring colder weather back to Michiana. Now, meanwhile, right now in the upper air, we do have this wave of low pressure moving through the area. On the surface, we have a southwest flow, which is bringing warm Gulf moisture, but a cold pool of air is starting to form up here in the Canadian provinces, and it's going to come down here by next week, bringing some much colder weather behind it. In fact, behind this wave is where the cold weather will really take place, and that will develop by Tuesday across Michiana. Meanwhile, right now on the surface, we do have a cold front moving through Iowa. This front's going to make its way through Michiana. In fact, on the satellite view, you can see the front and the associated low pressure moving through Iowa, but there's plenty of clear skies behind the front, and that's our weather tomorrow as high pressure settles in tomorrow, bringing clear weather. Temperatures should hold close to 70 degrees, upper 60s at least. But another front, and this is the cold air that's going to make its way through Michiana and bring some snow to parts of Lake Superior, Wisconsin, and Minnesota by Monday and Tuesday. But highs tomorrow across Michiana are going to be great with temperatures close to 70, but again forecasting a high of 68. And there's the beginning of the cold push of air with 50s up north in Minnesota. Now, beginning Tuesday through Saturday, here's what we're expecting as far as the upper air goes. There's that push of cold air coming down. Here's the first wave moving through Michiana tonight, second wave by Monday, and our third wave by the weekend. But look what happens as the cold air starts to retrogress westward and builds across Michiana. So by Thursday, it looks like Thursday will be the coldest of the 2 days, but then the front or the jet stream will make its way out of the area and zonal flow will return, bringing warmer weather back to the area by the weekend. But temperatures by Thursday will be very cold with temperatures 12 to 8 degrees below normal. Now this is a little cooler or warmer than the models were forecasting over the last 3 days. In fact, yesterday they were forecasting highs to be 28 degrees below normal. So the models are having a little problem with how cold the air will be by the time it gets here in Michiana by Wednesday and Thursday, but tomorrow we'll have some better ideas for you. And the normal high in Michiana is 70, but we're forecasting a high on Thursday of 58 degrees, which isn't too bad for this time of year. But by the weekend, temperatures start to rebound close to 66 degrees with more showers. What's new for the area? My forecast then for tonight for southwest lower Michigan calls for cloudy skies, foggy conditions, rain showers moving through the area. Low around 54 degrees. Tomorrow, clearing skies and a high of 68 degrees. For the rest of the area, cloudy skies, patchy fog, and rain showers. That sounds new. Low of 54 degrees with northwest winds by morning. And then tomorrow, clearing skies in the morning. Seasonal temperatures close to 68 degrees. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy and somewhat cool, and a low around 47. And then for Monday, rather